Lost does not pull back his overlords. It's something you'll commonly see from Zerg players. They'll just pull back their overlords back into a corner by the spore crawlers to keep them safe. He still has quite a spread here. Minigun could explore the map and take these out. So that's the other thing, is I've tried Phoenix before, and it seems like I'm able to do a lot of initial damage, but once they get out the Hydralisks, and once they pull back the majority of their overlords, the Phoenix just lose their effectiveness to a large degree. So Minigun was able to keep that harass on and throw up a second base here. Now 54 harvesters to the 51. So the Zerg player finally catching up again. So we see most of these Phoenix are taken down by the Hydralisks. Just the one Phoenix left, not making any more Phoenix. This is another thing, is he made about 4 or 5 Phoenix there, and he didn't go for any larger numbers than that. So it looks like he's going to try to transition into gateway units, and he's also getting up a Colossus to deal with those Hydralisks. So you sort of force the hand of the Zerg player, it looks like, into Hydralisks or Mutalisks, though they are weak against Phoenix, to try to take on these Phoenix, and then you can do a tech switch to Colossus, and the Hydralisks are just weak against the Colossus. And just the one Phoenix, probably not going to be able to take out this Overseer before it gets back to the base. Overseer without 1 armor, taking reduced damage from the Phoenix. So looks like Minigun is throwing up a 3rd expansion right now. And we're getting some Roaches and Corruptors coming out from Lost. So the Corruptors are a great response to the Colossus, and then the Roaches and Hydras are going to shred these gateway units. So really interesting to see how this battle shapes up as we move along in this game. The Phoenix play has sort of died down now, so I guess I answered a few of my questions. He did wait until he had 4 or 5 Phoenix before he moved out with them, and didn't tip his hand. There was only 3 Queens out rather than the 4 we might see from a Zerg player, so he was able to take down those Queens pretty easily, and he was able to do a lot of damage before that Lair Tech came up. That's something I may try rather than going out with the 1 or 2 Phoenix that I had been doing. And then he also placed this Stargate in a good position, so he denied any sort of Overlord scouting. So Lost was not aware of the Phoenix. As we see, even the better players forget the chrono boost. Should be constantly chrono boosting these robotics facilities at least. Don't see any upgrades from this Twilight Council yet. Looks like we have a Templar Archives going up. So transitioning into some Colossus, and then also some High Templar, it looks like. Both of which are great against Hydralisk. Look at the army tab. Pretty even here, 3,800 to 3,900. It's both players just shifting back and forth as they warp in and macro up. Would have liked to see those Phoenix maybe spread around the map a little bit more and look for these Overlords, but again, you almost expect the Zerg player to pull back all their Overlords, so you really just get that first set of Overlord kills, maybe 3 or 4, until they get them back to their protected mineral lines. See, we do have Psionic Storm researching. A few Immortals coming out in response to those Roaches. Now a bunch of Gateways, which is a smart move. If you're on 3 bases here, you can definitely afford these Gateways. If we look at the Army tab, 177 to 161. Something you see in a lot of Miniguns games is sort of just macro-oriented, not attacking until he's at 170 so, or close to 200 even. Looks like we see a Nidus Worm going down 4 Lost, so I'll be interested to see where he places that. He does have the, well, he might use it to get some drones over here. That's interesting, I've never seen that. So he's going to grab this expansion with drones from the Nidus Worm. If you look, the majority of Miniguns units are at the south of the map here, so the Nidus Worm could pick off some key structures up here, Robotics Bay. they got some roaches in. Not really sure who has map control at this point. Relatively even in terms of what people can see. They each have their half of the map. Lost is throwing up kind of a double expo here, so he'll be on 4 bases. Minigun's just getting up his 4th as well. And if we look at resources, both players staying below 1,000, which is kind of the challenge as you get up to max here. So we see Lost is about to hit max, and Minigun just did. So we should see some sort of attack here pretty late. And bring in this Phoenix. Phoenix could lift up some units, possibly Hydralisks, or just try to take on these Corruptors. Corruptors very strong against the Protoss, as these Phoenix are just going to do bonus damage to light. Corruptors are armored units. Hard to take them down. So we see a lot of Storms going down, and Colossus taking down a lot of these Hydralisks, but the Roaches and the Corruptors may be able to finish these off. The Corruptors taking down Colossus quickly here, and it looks like Minigun's just pushing through with those great storms the Hydras were not able to get out of, and then the few Colossus were able to do damage there as well. So a lot of those Hydralisks went down. See one shot from that Corruptor, that was worth it. Take down that Colossus, and rallying up more units for Lost here at 99. If we look at the production tab, just more Roaches coming. He might not have had a lot of larvae saved up. Something you'll see a lot of great players do is just save up larvae so that once they lose their army, they can just mass up again. And Minigun's just going to be able to push in here. These storms on the Roaches. Roaches have a lot of health, but with these Immortals as well, Minigun should be able to push through. Looks like Lost is going to GG there. So it looks like the Phoenix were used sort of as a transition and opening Harass on this map with the long ground rush distance. They didn't really do, I would say, killer or fatal damage to Lost, but they definitely put him on 1 base for a little while and might have delayed his tech for a while as well, at least forced him into Hydras, and the Colossus were a good counter to the Hydras. So I answered a few of my questions about Phoenix. Still not sure that it's that viable of a strat, at least for me right now, as I'm still struggling to mix the micro and the macro, as I'm sure a lot of players are having trouble with. But may look at a few more replays of Phoenix style here and see if I can start practicing that on the ladder against third players. So this has been Matron checking out a Minigun versus Lost game on Scrap Station. Thanks for watching. See ya.